Hi, everybody, and thank you for turning on this presentation and joining us. My name is Charlie Priester. I'm an Assistant Director of Student Leadership Development, and I'm joined with my colleague, Alexa Gerling. And together, we both serve our Fraternity and Sorority Life program as Assistant Directors and Advisors to all of our fraternities and sororities and our councils. And we're here today just to talk about fraternity sorority life at William & Mary and give you a basic overview of our community here at William & Mary. So we'll start off with some benefits of membership, and they're really simple and good to know, right? So first, we want our students to belong and create strong bonds of siblinghood, experience lifelong membership, not just for their 4 years at college, but having connections with people that goes beyond their 4 years here and enters into adulthood and their professional career. We always joke, there's a saying in my chapter at least, like the men that you join a fraternity with are the men that are going to be standing beside you at your wedding and the men who carry your casket when you die. Now, I don't love that because I don't want I'm hoping to have a long life and I don't want a bunch of frail old men carrying my coffin. But it's a nice sentiment anyway. We want our groups to create a home away from home. And by joining our organizations, they have access to an international network of alumni who are CEOs of Fortune 500 companies, who are educators, who are leaders in their communities, and can help them find both a place in their professional path and their personal path, even beyond college. Our fraternities and sororities are a place of support and challenge, and helping our members grow and become better, more developed men and women in our community. And again, there's personal, professional, and leadership development that comes from being a member of one of our chapters. And then finally, service is an important part of our community. There's opportunities to lead and serve both fraternity sorority life and William and Mary communities. And we have a big emphasis on community service and philanthropy in all of our chapters. A quick overview of our community. Our core values in the fraternity sorority life program is scholarship, service, and brother sisterhood and leadership. So these are the four tenets that we uphold with all of our programs, that all of our councils uphold, and we ask all of our chapters to hold as values in addition to their own values. Currently, we have three governing councils, the Interfraternity Council, or IFC, the National Panhellenic Council, the NPHC, and the Panhellenic Association. And we'll talk about what these councils do and what they look like and which one might be the right one for your student. Currently, we have about 32 chapters, including 15 IFC fraternities, 6 National Panhellenic chapters, or 6 of the Divine Nine, 10 Panhellenic sororities, and then Sigma Iota Alpha, which is our Latina sorority. We have over 1,800 members, and it's about 26% of the student body, and we're in the middle of some growth. We are excited that Lambda Upsilon Lambda is still in the process of establishing and bringing in more men, and that is a Latino fraternity. And then we currently have an Asian interest sorority on campus looking to establish as a chapter here as well. An important thing to know, our community is a home without hazing, not just in fraternity sorority life, but anywhere on campus. Per Adams Law, which is Virginia's anti-hazing law, all students interested in joining any fraternity or sorority must attend a home without hazing prospective member training. There are trainings that are offered during the orientation period, as well as in the first few weeks of the semester. We have 17 presentations outside of orientation that students can attend if they don't make it to one of the ones at orientation. All of the presentations are on TribeLink, and students can visit TribeLink or our hazing prevention website for more information on when these are. As I promised, we're going to talk about our councils, and we'll start with the Interfraternity Council. We have 15 member chapters. Our fraternities range in size from about 12 men to 75 men. And IFC holds recruitment each semester. At the beginning of each semester, we also have what's known as year-round recruitment. And so at any point during the semester, even if it's not during the formal period, an interested man can join any of our fraternities as long as they go through a couple of the steps that we need to have them do. Talking about IFC recruitment, up at the top of the screen is the recruitment registration form that you can scan and send to your student if you think that they might be interested. This is a self-directed process, which means that it's up to the men to go and meet any chapter that they're interested in. IFC will host a couple events, and then each chapter will host their own events, usually 3 to 5 events. Some will be on campus and some will be in the greater Williamsburg community area. And it's up to the students, the potential new members, to go explore these chapters and find them and get to know the men in these organizations. I encourage them to go to every event that they can go to, for every fraternity that they can go to. At the very least, there's usually food, and they'll have free dinner for about 2 or 3 weeks. Information on IFC and chapters Instagram accounts. We'll have the Fraternity Sorority Life account handle at the end of our presentation, and from there you can find all of our chapters and councils Instagram handles. But information about events from the IFC and chapters are on Instagram accounts as well. IFC events are on the FSL website. Men do have to be in good conduct and academic standing to join our fraternity, and registration for fraternity recruitment closes at 11:59 p.m. on September 11th. So make sure that if your student is interested in joining a fraternity during the formal recruitment period, that they register before the end of the day on September 11th.
All right, so now that we've learned a little bit about our Interfraternity Council, we're going to jump right in and learn more about our National Panhellenic Council. They're also referred to as Divine 9, D9, or NPHC, and they are comprised overarchingly of 9 different organizations that make up their council. Of those 9 organizations, we currently have 6 active on campus. We have a good mix of fraternities and sororities that fall into the Divine 9. So there is an opportunity for students to explore what those options are. The D9 organizations are historically Black organizations, but not exclusively. And what makes them also a great opportunity for students to find belonging in is they are focused and centered around service to their community. So they are service-based organizations. When talking about joining an NPHC organization, their recruiting processes look a little bit different. They don't do a formal recruitment process like our Interfraternity Council or Panhellenic Association would. They do what we refer to as intake. And each organization has their own process when it comes to intake. That does lead, or it does have different requirements. So that might include interviews, letter of recommendations, but all of them do entail not being able to join as a first semester freshman. So you need to have established credits at William and Mary, as well as you need to have certain grades to join their organization. So if a student is interested in joining one of our NPHC organizations, we would recommend visiting the chapters at their events, or saying hi to them as they're tabling, and just trying to learn more information, and to also be on the lookout for any information on information meetings or recruitment meetings where they will go over what their processes really entail. The final council that we currently have active on campus is our Panhellenic Council. We do have 10-member chapters on campus. This is our largest council. We have our chapters range in size from about 80 members to about 110. That number does vary a little bit every semester, obviously with the students graduating, students going abroad, and things like that. But with our 10 chapters, they are all housed on campus and they all live within sorority court. So it's a wonderful opportunity if you happen to be on campus just to stop by and take a peek. Our Panhellenic organizations do have 2 different forms of recruitment that happen every year. And those opportunities to join are something that your student should keep in mind as they're considering what path is right for them. So in the fall semester, at the beginning, usually the first 2 weekends in September, we do have primary recruitment, so formal recruitment, and that happens over 2 weekends. The thing that's great about formal recruitment in the fall is that any student or potential new member, as we call them, that is interested in participating in recruitment has the opportunity to meet all 10 chapters. So this is the only recruitment process during which you get to meet all of the chapters. And from there, it's kind of a mutual selection process where your student and the chapter kind of can narrow down what they're interested in and what they're looking for. One does have to register for formal recruitment, and the registration for that does close on Wednesday, September 3rd. right around noon. So that's super, super important to fill out the registration, because otherwise a student is not able to participate in their process. They do also have a kind of relaxed process in the spring semester where chapters will individually recruit. Events for that will be a lot more informal. They might include coffee dates or game nights or an open house. But at that point, it is up to the student to go out and find information and to meet those chapters. They do not have a formally structured process like fall recruitment would entail. The last organization that I do want to talk about is Hermandad Sigma Iota Alpha Incorporada. They are our only Latina sorority on campus. They also have their own intake process. So if a student is interested in joining, would recommend, kind of like with some of our other organizations, to reach out to them via social media or stop by when they're tabling. They will be at some of the events we're listing later on in this presentation, and that just allows you the opportunity to learn a little bit more about them and meet the members. The other thing that we want to talk about a little bit more is the role of the family. So joining a chapter can be really, really exciting, not only for the student that is actually joining, but also to family members, especially if they were also involved in a fraternity or sorority. One of the things that we want to emphasize here is ultimately it's your student's decision to join, right? Just as you might have had the experience or the opportunity to join a chapter, now it's your student's turn. And it's really about what is the best fit for them. We want to make sure that whichever chapter they join, they're happy in, they're having a wonderful membership experience, and it's a place where they feel like home. So some of the questions that you can ask your student to help be supportive in this process entails, what do they value? Like, what are they hoping to get out of their membership experience? Is it focused on leadership opportunities, which all of them do provide? Is it service? Is it finding friends and finding belonging? All of those things certainly exist within all of our chapters. However, what they focus on and what causes are important to them will vary from chapter to chapter. When thinking about joining these chapters as well, these chapters that your students are joining are not just 4 years of membership. It's a lifelong commitment. So once you join a chapter, you don't always have opportunities to look at other options. And for the most part, you don't. And that is totally fine. But that means when your student commits to joining a chapter, they should be sure about their decision to join. So really, whenever a student comes to you and tells you about their experience, what we're hoping you do is just offer gentle support and provide them with a listening ear, right? Ultimately, it's their journey. It's about what they want for their college experience and beyond. So really encourage them to explore all of their options and keep an open mind. We have, like Charlie mentioned earlier, about 1,800 students in our fraternity sorority community. That's 1 in 4 students on our campus. So with that many students in our chapters, there's going to be someone in every single chapter that your student will connect with. It's just a matter of meeting the people. So really making sure that they put themselves out there, that they're open to that experience, and really just be themselves. That's the most important thing, because chapters want to meet the students where they're at and then help them grow from there. Some of the resources that we have for you are talking about, in this case, it's more Panhellenic focused, but it does also apply to other councils and chapters that we have on our campus. It's really talking about calling it recruitment versus rush, and talking about how parents can support their students. So if you are looking for a quick read, just to learn more, we would really recommend reading this article. There is a QR code there for your convenience as well. Some of the other things we want you to keep in mind, and this is also something that we share with the students, is some of our organizations are housed. So we have over 20 organizations of our 32 that are currently housed, which means some of them might have housing requirements. Those that don't have that, and your student might not need to think about that. But for those that do, oftentimes sophomores, for example, get asked to live in a house. Now, that might not be a requirement for all of the chapters, but it is an option to consider as well when your student is thinking about joining. One of the things we always get asked about is money. Yes, these organizations do cost money. they're private membership organizations, and that is a part of it. Dues will get charged either every semester or maybe upfront. So that can vary based on chapter and community that your student is joining. And we really recommend that your student ask the question about how much it is or how much costs are to join a chapter. Specifically, something to consider too is that oftentimes the first semester where a student is joining will be more expensive because other fees might be associated with a first-time member. So that's just something to keep in mind as they're looking at what chapters might be a good fit for them. Also, again, we have over 30 chapters on our campus. There's bound to be someone in every chapter that your student will connect with, which also means that there is a home for everyone that is looking for one in our community. So we have small chapters, we have large chapters, we have some housed, some are not housed. We have chapters that have been here for 100+ years, and we have chapters that have been here for less than 5 years, right? So there is a wonderful experience to be had. It's just a matter of finding the right fit. So with that being said, students should really also take their time to explore their options, right? It's not necessarily the first person you meet or the first chapter you meet is the right fit. Maybe it is, but maybe it's not. And that is totally fine. Something to know about our community is we do have a lot of freshmen that join their very first semester on campus, and that's wonderful. They get 4 years of this experience and then go on to become, a lifelong member. However, we also have a lot of students on our campus that join as sophomores, juniors, and partially even last semester seniors, right? So there really is no one particular time or one right time for your student to join. It's really all about when is your student ready to join and when have they decided who they want to join. The other thing, we just want to, again, put a reminder out there. If your student is looking at joining a fraternity and sorority, they do have to do the Home Without Hazing prospective member training. I want to note here that they only have to do that once at their tenure while at William & Mary, so they don't have to do it every year. The prospective member training is a one and done. And there are also other organizations outside of fraternities and sororities that require this training in order to join. So we really recommend just getting it out of the way at the beginning of the fall semester and then kind of going from there. We also want to quickly talk about some of our upcoming events. We do have the Fraternity Sorority Life Meet and Greet that happens during the Monday of orientation on August 25th. All of our 32 chapters, as well as the expanding chapters, will be there and have a table. So your student can come and meet members from each of the member organizations. We also have the Student Organizations and Activities Fair, during which the councils primarily will be tabling, but also some of the chapters, depending on the council. And we have over 500 student organizations on our campus. During this fair, which happens also again the Monday and Tuesday of orientation, your student has the opportunity to explore hundreds of those organizations and meet students that are partially in fraternities and sororities, but also students that are involved in all different facets of campus. We also have an IFC hangout happening, which is a really great opportunity just for your student that's interested in joining an IFC fraternity to show up, meet some of the current members, and really kind of go from there. Make some of those initial connections, have fun, and see which chapters to explore from there. We also have an MPHC meet and greet scheduled, which will be happening on Tuesday, September 2nd. All of our D9 organizations will be there. They will also just mix and mingle and have an opportunity to connect with students. And again, it's a really great opportunity just to put a face to the student's name. And then finally, Panhellenic does not have a formal meet and greet scheduled, but any student that is participating in primary recruitment this fall will be asked to attend a potential new member, so P&M orientation, where we go over all of the ins and outs of Panhellenic sorority recruitment. And that is also where they meet the recruitment council groups, which means the groups that help support their sorority recruitment experience. So it's a really great opportunity also to learn more about the process and to meet more people. To wrap us up, we do have our contact information here. Charlie and I both work with this community. We have some wonderful students in our community. So if you do happen to have any questions that we did not cover or any additional information that you're looking for, feel free to send us an email or feel free to call our office. We'd be happy to talk about it and just provide you with additional information. So that is an opportunity that you have available to you if you would like to use it. We also did put our QR code up here for the Fraternity Sorority Life Instagram. As different information comes out regarding recruitment processes, that information will also be shared there. So that also provides another landing opportunity outside of the Fraternity Sorority Life website where you can look at more information. And I believe that is all of the information that we have for you today. So thank you so much for joining us, and we hope to hear from you soon.